D-Day, also known as the Normandy Invasion, was a pivotal event in World War II that marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. On June 6, 1944, Allied forces launched a massive invasion on the beaches of Normandy, France, in what became the largest amphibious assault in history. This monumental operation, known as Operation Overlord, involved meticulous planning, immense coordination, and unparalleled bravery. The success of D-Day was a crucial turning point that led to the liberation of Western Europe from Nazi occupation and ultimately contributed to the Allied victory in the war. The road to D-Day. Strategic planning. The idea of a cross-channel invasion had been contemplated since the early days of the war. The Allies, particularly the United States and the United Kingdom, recognized that a direct assault on German-occupied Western Europe was essential to defeat Hitler's forces. The decision to launch Operation Overlord was solidified at the Tehran Conference in November 1943, where U.S. President Franklin D. Roosevelt, British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, and Soviet Premier Joseph Stalin met to discuss war strategy. The planning for D-Day was a complex and intricate process. General Dwight D. Eisenhower was appointed Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force, and he oversaw the detailed preparations. The Allies had to consider various factors, including the selection of landing sites, the timing of the invasion, the logistics of transporting troops and equipment, and the need for deception to mislead the Germans about the actual landing location. Deception strategies. One of the key elements of the D-Day planning was Operation Bodyguard, a comprehensive deception strategy designed to confuse the Germans about the timing and location of the invasion. This operation included several sub-operations, such as Operation Fortitude, which created the illusion of an impending invasion at Pas de Calais, the narrowest point between Britain and France. To support this deception, the Allies used fake equipment, dummy paratroopers, and a network of double agents to feed false information to the Germans. They also conducted diversionary bombing raids and naval maneuvers to keep German forces spread out along the coast. These efforts were largely successful, as the Germans remained uncertain about the true location of the invasion until it was too late. The invasion. The forces involved. The D-Day invasion involved a massive and diverse coalition of Allied forces. More than 156,000 troops from the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, and other Allied nations participated in the initial landings. These forces were supported by nearly 7,000 naval vessels, including battleships, destroyers, and landing craft, as well as over 11,000 aircraft that provided air cover and conducted bombing raids on German positions. The landing sites. The Normandy coast was divided into 5 sectors for the invasion: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juneau, and Sword beaches. Each sector was assigned to different Allied forces. Utah Beach, the westernmost beach, was assigned to the U.S. 4th Infantry Division. Despite strong currents that pushed the landing craft off course, the troops encountered relatively light resistance and quickly secured their objectives. Omaha Beach, this beach saw the fiercest fighting of the invasion. The U.S. 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions faced heavily fortified German defenses and suffered significant casualties. However, through sheer determination and bravery, the American forces managed to break through and establish a foothold. Gold Beach, assigned to the British 50th Infantry Division, the landings at Gold Beach were initially met with heavy resistance. Nevertheless, the British troops overcame these challenges and secured key positions, including the town of Bayeux. Juno Beach. The Canadian 3rd Infantry Division faced strong German defenses at Juno Beach. Despite the initial difficulties, the Canadians made significant progress and were able to link up with British forces from Gold Beach. Sword Beach. The easternmost beach was assigned to the British 3rd Infantry Division, with support from French and other Allied forces. The troops at Sword Beach faced intense opposition but managed to push inland and capture important objectives, including the city of Caen. Airborne operations. In addition to the amphibious landings, airborne operations played a crucial role in the success of D-Day. Paratroopers from the U.S. 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, as well as the British 6th Airborne Division, were dropped behind enemy lines in the early hours of June 6. Their mission was to capture key bridges, disrupt German communications, and prevent reinforcements from reaching the beaches. These airborne troops faced numerous challenges, including poor weather conditions, scattered drops, and strong German defenses. Despite these obstacles, they were able to accomplish many of their objectives and significantly contributed to the overall success of the invasion. The Battle for Normandy. Securing the beachheads. The initial landings on D-Day were just the beginning of a brutal and protracted battle for control of Normandy. In the days following the invasion, the Allies worked tirelessly to secure the beachheads and expand their foothold in France. This involved clearing German defenses, establishing supply lines, and bringing in reinforcements and equipment. The push inland. One of the primary objectives after securing the beachheads was to capture the key port city of Cherbourg. The port was essential for bringing in additional troops and supplies. The battle for Cherbourg was fierce, with the Germans heavily fortifying the city and resisting the Allied advance. However, by the end of June, the Allies had captured Cherbourg, providing a vital logistical hub for the continued offensive. Another significant objective was the city of Caen, which was a major transportation and communication hub in Normandy. The battle for Caen lasted for several weeks and involved intense urban combat. The city finally fell to the Allies in mid-July, providing a critical boost to their efforts in Normandy. The breakout. As the Allies consolidated their positions in Normandy, they began to prepare for a breakout from the beachheads. This involved launching a series of offensives to push the Germans back and create a corridor for the Allied advance. One of the key operations in this phase was Operation Cobra, launched by the U.S. First Army in late July. The objective was to break through the German defenses in the western part of the Cotentin Peninsula and create a pathway for the Allied forces to advance. Operation Cobra was a resounding success, leading to a rapid and decisive breakout. The Allies were able to exploit the German weaknesses and push deep into France. This paved the way for a broader offensive that eventually led to the liberation of Paris in August 1944. The impact of D-Day. Military significance. The success of D-Day had profound military implications. It marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany, as the Allies were able to establish a strong foothold in Western Europe and launch a sustained offensive. The invasion forced the Germans to fight a two-front war, as they were already engaged in a brutal conflict with the Soviet Union on the Eastern Front. This significantly strained German resources and contributed to their eventual defeat. Political and psychological impact. D-Day also had a significant political and psychological impact. The successful invasion demonstrated the strength and resolve of the Allied coalition, boosting morale and fostering a sense of unity among the Allied nations. It also sent a powerful message to the occupied countries of Europe, providing hope and inspiration for resistance movements and demonstrating that liberation was possible. Human cost. The human cost of D-Day was immense. Thousands of Allied soldiers lost their lives in the initial landings and the subsequent battles in Normandy. The exact number of casualties is difficult to determine, but estimates suggest that the Allies suffered over 10,000 casualties on D-Day alone, including more than 4,000 killed. The Germans also suffered significant losses, with thousands of soldiers killed, wounded, or captured. In addition to the military casualties, many French civilians were caught in the crossfire. The bombing raids and ground battles caused widespread destruction and loss of life in the towns and villages of Normandy. The civilian population endured immense suffering, but their resilience and support were crucial to the success of the Allied efforts. Conclusion. D-Day was a monumental and historic event that changed the course of World War II. The bravery and sacrifice of the Allied forces, combined with meticulous planning and coordination, led to a decisive victory that paved the way for the liberation of Western Europe. The success of D-Day demonstrated the strength and resolve of the Allied nations and marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The legacy of D-Day endures to this day, serving as a powerful reminder of the cost of freedom and the importance of unity and cooperation in the face of adversity. The courage and determination of the soldiers who stormed the beaches of Normandy will never be forgotten, and their actions continue to inspire future generations.